We've all been there, scraping by with every dollar, struggling to cover the basics, and wondering why financial freedom seems like an elusive dream just beyond our grasp. But what if I told you that some of the deeply ingrained beliefs we hold about money are silently sabotaging our chances of achieving true wealth? Today, we're diving deep to uncover the 10 financial lies that many poor people unknowingly cling to, and the truth might just leave you speechless. Stick around, because these myths are far more dangerous and pervasive than you might imagine, quietly undermining your financial potential every single day. 1. Money doesn't grow on trees. You've probably heard this saying repeated so many times by parents, teachers, or even friends that it feels like an unshakable universal truth etched into your mind from childhood. It's a phrase that shapes how we view money, suggesting that wealth is a rare and scarce resource, something only a fortunate few can ever hope to attain through relentless, backbreaking effort. The hidden message here is clear. Making money is an uphill battle, and you must toil endlessly just to earn a modest living. While hard work is undoubtedly a cornerstone of success, this belief traps people in a narrow mindset where their only path is to exchange time for money, day in and day out, without ever looking beyond the grind. It stifles your ability to dream bigger or explore new possibilities. Take a moment to think about it. If money truly didn't grow on trees, how do the wealthiest individuals and families seem to accumulate it with such apparent ease, almost as if it flows naturally? The answer isn't luck or some secret club, it's a deliberate strategy. They've learned that money doesn't just come from working harder. It comes from multiplying your resources and investing in opportunities that can grow over time. This is where the magic of compound growth enters the picture. If you're fixated solely on your weekly paycheck, you're missing the vast forest for a single tree. Investing in stocks, real estate, or even launching a small side business can generate income without requiring you to clock in 40 hours a week. The truth is, money grows through smart investments, leveraging the power of time and creating assets that produce passive income streams. By shifting your focus from merely earning money to actively investing it, you unlock the door to genuine wealth creation. You don't need to wait for a miraculous event or a stroke of luck to get rich. What you need is to start thinking like an investor, someone who knows how to plant seeds, nurture them, and watch them flourish over time. The reason money doesn't grow on trees for most people is simple. They never plant the seeds or cultivate the right resources to let it thrive. 2. Rich people are just lucky. This myth is especially poisonous because it allows you to dodge responsibility for your own financial destiny. If you convince yourself that the rich are simply fortunate, you'll never believe that wealth is something you can achieve for yourself. It's all too easy to dismiss successful people as just lucky when we hear those extraordinary tales. The tech prodigy who invented a game changer in his garage, or the actor who went from rags to riches overnight. But what we rarely see are the years of relentless work, countless setbacks, continuous learning, and personal sacrifices that pave the way for those moments of glory. The reality is that luck plays a minimal role, if any, in the long-term creation of sustainable wealth. Sure, a handful of people might stumble into a windfall, say, an unexpected inheritance or a lottery jackpot, but those instances are rare outliers, not the norm. Look at the world's richest individuals, like Warren Buffett or Jeff Bezos. Their success wasn't a fluke or the result of a single lucky break. They spent decades honing their skills, making calculated decisions, and building businesses and investments that yielded returns over time. Wealth is constructed slowly and deliberately through strategic action and long-term planning, not handed out by chance. Here's a critical insight. Luck might give you a fleeting moment of success, but without the skills, persistence, and preparation to back it up, that success will slip through your fingers. True prosperity isn't about waiting for a lucky break to fall into your lap. It's about being ready to seize opportunities when they arise. So instead of sitting back and hoping for a windfall, focus on developing the skills, knowledge, and mindset that will position you to recognize and capitalize on those opportunities. Wealth creation demands intentional effort, unwavering focus, and the ability to act decisively when the time is right. Luck might offer a head start, but it's your strategy, decisions, and execution that determine how far you'll go. 3. I don't need to budget. How many times have you heard someone brush off budgeting with a casual, I don't need to budget. I know where my money goes. This is one of the most deceptive lies poor people tell themselves, often dismissed as too tedious, restrictive, or unnecessary. Many assume budgeting is only for those who are struggling financially or living on a tight income, a tool reserved for the desperate. But in reality, budgeting is one of the most powerful and versatile tools you can wield, regardless of how much money flows into your bank account. Without a budget, you're essentially flying blind through your financial life, with no clear map to guide you. The truth is, even those who earn substantial salaries can end up living paycheck to paycheck if they don't actively monitor and manage their spending habits. You might feel confident, buying what you want when you want it, thinking you've got it under control. But without a budget, you're simply reacting to your income and expenses rather than taking the reins and directing where your money goes. When you create and follow a budget, you gain a crystal clear picture of your financial landscape. Are you overspending on unnecessary items like daily takeout and used subscriptions or impulsive online purchases? Are there services or memberships you're paying for but no longer need? A budget helps you pinpoint those leaks and empowers you to take corrective action. But it's not just about slashing expenses. It's about making your money work for you in a balanced way. A well-crafted budget allows you to allocate funds for savings, investments, and even a bit of enjoyment, all while ensuring you're living within your means and aligning your spending with your long-term goals. People who achieve wealth understand the critical importance of tracking their income and expenses meticulously. It's not about depriving yourself of life's pleasures. It's about ensuring you're using your resources in a way that propels you toward your dreams. Budgeting is a simple yet transformative habit that can radically alter your financial trajectory. So the next time you catch yourself thinking, "I don't need to budget," remember that even the wealthiest individuals in the world rely on a plan. They just tailor it to fit their unique financial aspirations and lifestyles. 4. I'll start saving once I make more money. Here's another myth that a lot of people fall into, and it's a particularly treacherous one. The idea that saving is something you can postpone until you earn a higher income keeps people locked in a cycle of endless procrastination. They convince themselves that if they could just secure a raise, land a better-paying job, or reach a certain income milestone, then they'd finally be able to start saving in earnest. But the harsh truth is that saving isn't a function of how much you earn. It's a mindset and a habit that you must cultivate regardless of your current financial situation. Many people make the critical mistake of thinking that saving is all about the leftover scraps of money you have at the end of the month after all the bills are paid and the fun is had. But if you don't develop the discipline to save when your income is modest, you'll find it just as challenging to save when your earnings increase. Think about it for a moment. How many people do you know who've gotten a raise or switched to a higher-paying job, only to discover that their spending habits have grown right along with their income, leaving them living paycheck to paycheck all over again? It's not about the size of your paycheck. It's about how you manage the resources you already have. The most successful savers and investors in the world have mastered the art of prioritizing saving as a non-negotiable step before they even consider spending on anything else. The key to building a solid savings habit lies in consistency, not the amount you set aside. Whether you're tucking away $50 a month or $500, the act of saving regularly is what lays the foundation for future wealth. If you wait until you make more money before you start saving, you'll likely find that your spending patterns expand to match your new income, and saving will remain an elusive goal. To break free from this cycle, treat saving like a bill you pay yourself first, before any other expense. Once you establish the habit of setting aside a portion of your income, no matter how small, you'll discover that it becomes easier to live within your means while still building a nest egg for your future. The truth is that wealth is constructed gradually through small, consistent steps, not by waiting for a sudden financial windfall to rescue you. 5. I can't afford to invest. This is one of the most widespread beliefs that prevents people from laying the groundwork for long-term wealth, often rooted in the misconception that investing is an exclusive privilege reserved for the wealthy or those with disposable income. People frequently say, "I can't afford to invest. I'm just trying to keep my head above water." And this mindset keeps them trapped in a survival mode that never evolves into prosperity. But here's the reality that can change everything. You can't afford not to invest. The truth is that investing doesn't demand a massive initial sum of money. and you don't need to wait until you're rolling in cash to get started. With the advent of accessible platforms like brokerage accounts and retirement plans such as IRAs and 401(k)s, you can dip your toes into investing with as little as $50 or $100. What's more, many investment options, especially in the stock market, allow you to purchase fractional shares, enabling even the smallest amounts of money to start working for you over time. If you keep delaying until you have enough money, you'll never take that crucial first step. Wealth doesn't materialize out of thin air overnight. It's built gradually through consistent investments, no matter how modest the beginning. The key to successful investing isn't about starting with a large pile of cash. It's about taking action and allowing your money to grow through the power of time. Compound interest, often hailed as the eighth wonder of the world, works its magic most effectively when you start early and remain steadfast. Even small, regular contributions can snowball into significant wealth over the years. Many of the wealthiest individuals today didn't begin with a fortune. They started with humble investments that they nurtured over decades. Waiting to invest because you don't think you have enough is a self-imposed trap. The sooner you begin investing, the more you'll benefit from the exponential power of compound returns. And remember, it's not about being rich before you invest. It's about investing to become rich, using time as your most valuable asset. 6. Debt is normal. Everyone has it. Another financial myth that keeps many people ensnared is the belief that debt is an unavoidable and acceptable part of everyday life. Everyone has debt, they say. Brushing it off is just another milestone of adulthood, whether it's student loans, mortgages, or car payments. While it's true that debt is widespread, the reality is that not all debt carries the same weight or purpose. Debt can either serve as a tool to build assets or act as a liability that drags you down, depending on how you wield it. For example, taking on a mortgage to purchase a home can be considered good debt because you're investing in a property that, in an ideal scenario, will appreciate in value over time. On the other hand, credit card debt, personal loans for consumption, and payday loans are classic examples of bad debt. Obligations that generate no real value and instead bleed your finances dry with exorbitant interest rates. The danger of believing that debt is just a normal part of life lies in how easily it lulls you into a trap of living paycheck to paycheck, perpetually paying off credit cards, or taking out loans for things that offer no long-term benefit. Instead of using debt as a strategic tool to build assets, many people fall into the habit of using it for immediate gratification, buying gadgets, clothes, or vacations they can't afford, often at punishing interest rates that compound their financial burden. The truth is that the rich don't live mired in debt. They leverage debt with precision, using it to finance investments like real estate or businesses that will grow in value over time. The critical difference is their understanding of the distinction between good debt and bad debt. Using debt responsibly to create wealth is a far cry from using it to fund purchases that only depreciate in value. If you want to break free from the debt cycle, you need to stop viewing debt as an inevitable norm and start treating it as something to be managed with care and intention. Pay down high-interest debt as aggressively as possible and be highly selective about taking on new debt, ensuring it contributes to building your financial future rather than eroding it. 7. Financial freedom is only for the elite. This is a deeply ingrained and dangerous belief that many people harbor without even realizing it. The notion that financial freedom, living without the constant need to work for money or retiring early, is a privilege reserved for ultra-wealthy celebrities, successful entrepreneurs, or those born into privilege is rooted in a misconception that wealth is an unattainable dream for the average person. People often think, "I'll never be able to retire early or live without a job. I don't have the resources, connections, or sheer luck to make it happen." But here's the liberating truth. Financial freedom is absolutely within reach for anyone, no matter where they start in life. What the rich and successful understand is that financial freedom doesn't come from inheriting a fortune or winning the lottery. It comes from making deliberate, smart choices, building assets that work for you, and planning for the future with intention. The cornerstone of financial freedom lies in creating streams of passive income, money that flows to you even when you're not actively working. This can be achieved through investments in stocks, real estate, side businesses, or other ventures that generate regular income without requiring your constant presence. The most empowering action you can take to achieve financial freedom is to start building these assets now, no matter how small your initial investments may seem. Over time, these assets can produce passive income that reduces your dependence on a traditional 9 to 5 job, giving you the flexibility to live life on your terms. In fact, many middle-class individuals, and even those with modest incomes, have achieved financial freedom by living frugally below their means, investing consistently over the years, and resisting the temptation of lifestyle inflation. The truth is that financial freedom isn't defined by how much you earn in a single year. It's determined by how much you keep, how wisely you invest, and how strategically you plan your financial future. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that financial independence is a luxury only for the elite. It's a realistic goal for anyone who takes the right steps, no matter their starting point or current circumstances. 8. I'll be fine. I don't need an emergency fund. This belief is one of the most perilous financial traps you can fall into. Many people live paycheck to paycheck, convincing themselves that if something goes wrong, they'll simply figure it out later or manage somehow. The reality, however, is that life is inherently unpredictable, and emergencies can strike when you least expect them, whether it's an unexpected medical bill, urgent car repairs, a sudden job loss, or a major home repair. Without an emergency fund, these situations can quickly spiral into financial chaos, forcing you to make desperate decisions that jeopardize your stability. Not having an emergency fund is essentially a gamble with your financial security, your mental well-being, and your long-term future. It's all too easy to think, that won't happen to me, or I'll just put it on my credit card if I need to. But relying on debt to cover emergencies is a dangerous and costly cycle. Not only do you end up paying steep interest on that borrowed money, but you also put your credit score at risk and can find yourself digging deeper into a financial hole that's hard to escape. The truth is that having an emergency fund is one of the most fundamental and powerful steps you can take toward achieving financial security and peace of mind. It's not about living in constant fear of the unexpected. It's about being prepared to handle life's surprises without derailing your financial goals. Financial experts widely recommend setting aside 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses in an easily accessible savings account to serve as this cushion. Building an emergency fund doesn't happen overnight, and it requires discipline, but it's a habit that can provide immense relief and stability. Start small. Aim for $500 as an initial goal to cover minor emergencies, and then gradually build up to a more substantial buffer that can handle larger setbacks. The key is to treat your emergency fund as a top priority, not an afterthought you'll get to someday. 9. It's too late to start. This is the final myth on our list, and it's one of the most damaging because it can paralyze you into inaction. The idea that it's too late to improve your finances, whether you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or even beyond, can be utterly disheartening. Many people believe that they've missed their window of opportunity to get ahead, and that wealth building is a game reserved for younger generations with time on their side. But the truth is, it's never too late to start taking control of your financial future, and the sooner you begin, the better off you'll be. What people often fail to recognize is that wealth building isn't about waiting for the perfect moment or having a head start. It's about starting right where you are, no matter how old you feel or how far behind you think you are. Time is certainly a factor when it comes to harnessing the power of compound interest. But that doesn't mean the door is closed if you start later in life. In fact, starting later can sometimes be an advantage because you might have a clearer understanding of your priorities, more life experience to draw from, and the maturity to make smarter, more disciplined financial decisions. Whether you're 25 or 55, there are actionable ways to start making your money work for you instead of the other way around. The key is to take that first step now, even if it means starting with small, manageable actions. You don't need to have millions in the bank to begin investing or saving. You just need a plan and the commitment to stick with it. Start by setting up a retirement account, crafting a basic investment strategy, or cutting back on unnecessary spending to free up cash. Over time, these small, consistent actions will accumulate and compound into significant wealth. Remember, the biggest mistake you can make is not starting at all. As long as you're still breathing and willing to act, it's not too late to take control of your finances and work toward the future you deserve. The most important thing is that you start today, because every day you delay is another day you could have been building the life you've always wanted. So how can you break free from these myths and start building wealth today? Here are some actionable steps you can take right now to set yourself on the path to financial success. 1. Start budgeting today. If you're not already tracking your money, begin now. No fancy software or tools required. Just grab a simple spreadsheet or even a notebook and start recording your income, expenses, and identifying areas where you can cut back. A good starting point is the 50/30/20 rule. Allocate 50% of your income to necessities like rent, utilities, and groceries. 30% to discretionary spending like dining out, entertainment, or hobbies, and 20% towards savings and investments. If you're not hitting that 20% savings goal yet, that's okay. Just start small and gradually work your way up as your habits strengthen. 2. Automate your savings and investments. One of the simplest and most effective ways to build wealth is by automating the process. Set up automatic transfers from your checking account to a savings or investment account right after you get paid. This pay yourself first strategy ensures that you're saving before you spend on anything else. Apps like Acorns or Robinhood make it incredibly easy to start investing with as little as $5, putting the power of compounding in your hands. 3. Start investing even with small amounts. You don't need to wait until you're earning six figures to begin investing. Open a brokerage account or start contributing to a retirement account like an IRA or 401k and begin with small, regular contributions. $50 a month can add up significantly over time through the magic of compound interest. Also, consider low-cost index funds or exchange-traded funds, ETFs, that provide broad exposure to a wide range of stocks without requiring deep expert knowledge. 4. Cut back on non-essentials. Many people are shocked to discover how much money they're wasting on things like unused subscriptions, frequent takeout meals, or impulsive online shopping sprees. Take a hard look at your monthly expenses and see where you can trim the fat. For example, do you really need all those streaming services? Or could you consolidate to one or two? Are you spending too much on fast food or daily coffee runs? Even cutting $50 to $100 from your discretionary spending each month can make a substantial difference over time, freeing up cash to redirect toward your goals. 5. Create an emergency fund. Begin building an emergency fund to protect yourself from life's uncertainties. Start with a modest goal like $500, which can cover unexpected expenses like car repairs or minor medical bills. Once you've reached that milestone, aim to save 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses. Having this financial cushion will prevent you from relying on credit cards during emergencies and provide you with invaluable peace of mind. 6. Educate yourself on personal finance. Make it a regular habit to learn about personal finance and money management. There are countless free resources available online, such as blogs, podcasts, and YouTube channels dedicated to financial literacy, offering insights from experts and everyday people who've transformed their lives. The more you know, the more confident and capable you'll feel about making smart decisions with your money. You don't need to become a financial guru overnight, but consistent learning will pay dividends in the long run as you build your knowledge base. If you've learned something valuable today and are ready to take control of your financial future, don't wait another moment. Start by taking just one small step, whether it's creating a budget, setting up a savings account, or making your first modest investment. And remember, the key to financial success lies in consistency. Small, steady actions today can lead to life-changing results tomorrow. If you found this content helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more practical financial tips, and share this video with someone who could benefit from these insights. Also, drop a comment below. Let me know which myth you used to believe and what step you're taking to improve your finances starting today. Let's start a conversation, support each other, and embark together on this transformative journey toward financial freedom.